Hi, Daniel. Good to see you, sir. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. It has been a minute. I'm here with Daniel Lister. Now, Daniel Lister has been running a campaign by Black and encouraging and doing all kind of initiatives to get people to start buying Black and putting their money, where their mouth is and support their community. And so it's great to see you at an event here today. We are at the initiative for the Initiative Party. So tell me, why are you here? And give me your thoughts of what you see of a Black political party.
To me, the reason why I'm here, as you said before, I was pushing forward, still am pushing forward the Buy Black kind of campaign with my company, My Black Market. And the whole idea of My Black Market in the Buy Black campaign is to develop an economic system or an economic engine to drive our community forward. And I very much adhere to the powernomics principle. And the powernomics principle says that, you develop your economics and then you take that economic power and then turn it into political power. So this is really the next step and the next progression on from what I'm really trying to do with the economic side of the game. So I'm really here to see how we can plug it from the economics going into the political side.
And there's a real strong caliber of people in the room, from what I could see. So it's brought together the right type of people. I think it's very key that a political party has the right type of expertise, and also the right type of balanced individuals, because within politics you get politicking within parties. So it definitely has to launch out on the right foot, and this type of groups. So, in regards to the Initiative Party and where they're going, how would you see that? Because I think what you mentioned was, is it Claude Anderson? Where's that? Could you explain to people just a little bit exactly kind of what it explains in that step from the economics to the politics and why they correspond or side by side?
So I think, especially us as a Black community, we kind of get politics confused. We kind of think it's a favoritism competition. Who's going to be our friend and who's going to favorite us more. And we kind of, as a community, fall into the trap of that these politicians, mainstreams, when it comes time for us to vote for them, they will do their little shuck and jive or say, "Oh, I've got my hot pepper sauce in my bag," and that is often you know what I'm saying, try and do all these kind of things to do the latest trend on Twitter or whatever it is, and then we all go yay and run along, and then get surprised when later on down the line they don't do anything for us. So what Claude Anderson teaches us, and especially Powernomics, is that these politicians are basically politicians for hire. They're basically someone that you hire to carry out a service for you. So where the economics ties into the politics is that once you get your economic base together, you then take those funds from your economic base and then you sponsor these politicians for your specific cause. So you say, listen, this is what I want to get done. Here is my money to support your campaign. And then when that candidate gets into power, then to repay what money you've given them, they then repay you with carrying out whatever issue that you've kind of backed them to do.
Right, okay. So the correspondence. So basically, the politicians are like mercenaries for hire to get the job done.
Yeah.
It's kind of like lawyers in a court.
Yes.
To get the job done in a court, you pay the lawyer to deliver the job.
Yeah.
It's
not friend and friend business.
Yeah. And the best lawyers you have, or the best parties, the best people that make up the party, who are best to get the job done. Okay. And so, final question. If you had a timeline based on this being its first initial meeting, how long do you think the process is from these initial meetings to actually having a functioning party that people could vote for? Are you the wrong person to ask?
I think maybe I'm the wrong person to ask as far as timeline. I mean, where we're at now, everybody's kind of just putting together. I mean, as far as I'm aware, they've got the mandate, and everybody's just kind of, this is kind of like a focus group to bring the community in and get the kind of first stages of different people in different areas of expertise. As you said, there's a good caliber of people around here from different areas. So we're basically just putting together all the ideas at the moment. So timeline-wise, I mean, really, once you've got the idea of what we want to go for, the party's there.
Yeah.
So
It's just creating awareness.
yeah, I mean, yeah, really, it could be any time soon, really. Yeah, it's everything. All the pieces are there. It's just when we want to move forward.
In most ways, the party will mostly exist before the platform exists.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Rob Robinson. I'm here with Jay Mastin. I know you're in a quick rush. We've just at the first initial workshops of the Initiative Party. Just quickly, tell me why you're here and what future do you see for this initiative?
I'm here because I believe in the power of our community and the power that we can move forward. I think the Initiative Party is an excellent idea because I believe that power comes in three forms: political, economic, and by insurrection. And we don't have a strong economic base currently. We can't be using insurrection. We don't have the arms, and that's not the route. And politically, at the moment, we don't have enough representation on the political scale. So the fact that the Initiative Party is looking to sort of galvanise our lobbying power, galvanise our influence, and galvanise what they're doing into something that we can really have proper political representation, I think it's an excellent idea.
Okay, and you would know the power of that because if I'm correct, you was fighting very hard in regards to the Stonebridge complex and that, and you used, would I say, political means in regards to taking that fight to the council?
Yes, we're fighting to save a place called Stonebridge Park. It's a bridge park complex worth about £100 million in the North West London area. It was purchased by the local black community in 1982, and Brent Council is trying to sell it today to a foreign entity. And we worked to save it. There was a lot of political machinations and lobbying going on, but the most effective way we went about that is legal. We put together a powerful legal campaign. It's still going on. We've won the first round legally, but we won't know. The real trial is maybe sometime next year, around about between July and November next year. So we're still fighting it. So we're pushing ahead. But yes, definitely. I'm the chair of the BPCC, and I've been leading the strategy with a group of the original HPCC team from North West London and a group of well-meaning individuals. So yes.
So this political party has got some great, what I like when I walked into the room is seeing the wealth of experience within the room, the skill set and so on and so forth. So for a political party, what would you say to the viewers there in regards to acquiring knowledge in regards to politics so they can become better voters? Because you could have great initiatives and a great party with all the great initiatives in the world, but if your voters lack political understanding, then you've got a bit of a problem. How would you best go forward in educating?
I think from a political point of view, any party from where it starts, it's got to get the grassroots support. So it's about building that original underpinning, and you have to have a reason that connects with the people for being, and the people then have to rally around that. As to what is taken as values going forward, that will be determined by our base of our people, and if everyone agrees with a number of clear goals and strategic policies that one can put together, that's the place. Because if you can get the community to lobby around some real key ideas and what is common, because in effect you're going to have situations where you have local wards and local areas, so it really starts in a localized manner. So although it's one initiative party, the strength is going to come from various wards across the country that have policies that mean a lot to local people, that you can elect a person based on that common policy, and as a result of that, that's where it's going to grow from. So it's about communication, it's about support, and it's about really people believing that their vote matters. So being able to translate to someone that if you vote for me, it will translate into some positive change. So that's what the connection is, and if that can be done right, then the party's got a future.
Excellent. Well, Jay, it was great having you on the platform. I know you're in a bit of a rush, so I really appreciate you stopping here at the moment. But it's great to have people like yourself and many other great caliber of people that we have in that room. So thank you for the time, sir. Our pleasure. We are at the launch of the Initiative Party's first get-together of individuals to brainstorm, to come up with ideas of how we can propel this party forward. Thus far, we've interviewed, I think, 4 men. It is a room majority of men, I would say, at least 80% men. But definitely, we definitely want female representation. We want, women to get involved in a political process. It's very, very important. So I thought, let me grab a female out of the room, one of our sisters, and ask her a few questions. So tell me, what made you come down here today? What was your interest in this political procedure?
I think I've come because it's important that we talk about change. We've been struggling for so long, and we have to try and be a part of that. And this is something that I think is a good idea. So I thought I'd come along and see what it's all about. And
as a female, do you have, just as a person, do you have an interest in politics? Do you follow politics in any form or fashion?
Yeah, I mean, politics is crucial to everything we do. The events of the last few years have shown us that we are in the midst of history right now. Nobody knows what's going to happen. For us as a community, with us coming out of Europe, there is no guarantees as to the equalities that will last, if at all, for us and others who are from minority groups. So we have to have an eye on what's happening in politics, because it's going to have a detrimental effect on every single one of us if we don't pay attention to it.
And how do you stress this? Because I was saying earlier, most people get their politics from listening to LBC, and that's the closest foray they may have into politics. And they'll have their preferential people they may listen to. What would you say to people? I mean, and you expressed it very well there, the importance of it, and Brexit being a classic example, because that's other people making decisions which you have no control over, and people don't realise the protections they have coming from the European Union. The fact that Boris is speaking with Trump now, and their level of business, there was once corporations lobby in the White House, now corporations are in the White House. So I think there's no greater time and necessity than us getting our political selves together now. Do you find that politics is male or female dominated? My experience is predominantly male dominated. So how would we get females to get involved in the political discourse? And the thing is, the reality is, in the line of work that we do in media, we work with a lot of high-powered females who are doing a lot of great things. But how does that translate into politics, and how do we get people to understand that they have to turn in that power into political power?
Well, practically speaking, Margaret Thatcher was the most powerful Prime Minister we've ever had. She was not the most pleasant Prime Minister, but she was one of the most powerful. And she said in 1970, there will never be a woman Prime Minister in my lifetime. That's what this woman said, because she didn't believe it could happen. And even when she was in politics, she was still in the minority. Her cabinet were male dominated. I don't say that I agree with Margaret Thatcher as a politician, but what I say is her words speak for themselves, that we are still there in a place where women are in the minority. You have to understand politics and enjoy it and want to do it, because you look at the harassment of women in politics, you look at what's happening now with Diane Abbott and all the issues raised with her, and she got more abuse than any other politician put together. She got more than anyone. No matter how we feel about her, harassment of women within Parliament is rife. So a lot of women may not feel it's something they want to do. But you got to have a strong backbone to do it. And that's why maybe some women shirk away from it, because either they may see that it's not something that they want to do, or they're worried about how they will be perceived by being in politics. And I'm being honest with you, the most successful politician who was a female was Margaret Thatcher, but she was one of the most hated people of all time in this country. So why would anybody want to be a part of that? So for me, I think women need to really want to love politics, or be like Diane Abbott and put up with all the crap that comes their way, as with all the other women.
Do you think we have an opportunity to do things different? And I very much believe at this particular time we have a chance as African people to do things based on our spirituality, to do things from our ethical standpoint, and that is also our relationship with our men and women relationship. So that within a party, our women are not undermined, or seen as second class within a party, but they have equal positions in regards to how we move forward, because we've been running a race with one leg. You know, if you're running a race and your women is tied up and behind you, then how are you going to win the race while everyone else is running with their two legs? So I think it's very important that we can do things different. Do you think, based on the spirit and energy in the room we've just come out of, but we now have an opportunity to do something, men and women working together for the collective good of our community?
I think that what we've done today is amazing, but it's what we've always done. Today is just what is the standard process that when we get together as positive black people, we can achieve it, men and women alike. The difficulty that black women face more than anything else is that more West Indian males have opted to move away from their own culture than any other race. Women, you just have to look at the advertisements on TV, you have to look at the biracial issues in relation to black women being missed from the advertisements. You can see that it's black males, white females, mixed race children or biracial children. That is not a problem. If you love someone, you love them. Colour should not come into it. However, as women, black women, we are being marginalised to the point where we are missing. So to be in a room like that where men look at us as queens, cherish us as powerful and empowering, is a good thing. And more women should attend events like this, because not all black men believe that we are aggressive, we have an issue, we're just going to be cussing 5 times a day, all day. They need to understand that when we care about something, we give it our all. And that means we won't give up on the person we're with. And that means we'll push them to the furthest they can go. So being in that room, it seems that the men understand that. So today was a great initiative alongside the party for me. And I liked it.
That's excellent. I'd like to... Sorry, I didn't take your name. Pauline.
It's a start, yeah, Pauline.
Sister Pauline.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank Sister Pauline for those words, for all the women out there. You know, hopefully you've taken something from that. We would love you to get involved in the political discourse. And the thing is, many women are. They're parents, they take their children to school, they often get involved more than maybe the men sometimes in the school issues because they're at the school, and then they lead into the parent governors and so on and so forth. So the political route is definitely there to go through. And if you keep it locked to this platform, we'll be able to guide you on that journey through the many experts that we've got on the platform talking about how to go through the political discourse and start making empowerment in your community. But do look out for other like-minded people. Do look out for other politically inclined people and try your best. Obviously, sometimes part of that journey means we'll go looking for parties which suit our interests based on what we know now. But if we can create a viable alternative, then you should look to support that viable alternative, which works for the benefit of your children moving forward in the future. With that, thank you, Sister Pauline. And I really appreciate those words. I am here with Richard Green. We're at the launch of the Initiative Party. And just a very simple question. What made you want to come down here today to this politically based event?
There's a number of reasons, really. Generally speaking, I think that the voice of black people in London is non-existent on a political landscape. I mean, if you look at the stats and the perception of politics within the black community, you know, we are generally quite politically naive. There is very little a lack of political acumen. Historically, black people will always vote Labour because they do, without Labour actually delivering anything. And the Conservative parties will not support black people because they expect black people to always vote Labour. You know, so I don't think there is any incentive or appetite for the main political parties to acknowledge us in any context or capacity, and therefore we are dead in the water in terms of having a voice or a stake on a wider level. I was interested to see what people had to say, people from various professional backgrounds and expertise. And as I've followed politics all my life, particularly London politics and the lay of the land and how it's evolved, I was very, very interested to see, you know, what could be done for black people to have a little bit more stake in the community in which they live and are very much part of and historically have always added great value to. In the wake of Brexit, We've seen all kinds of chaos and madness and confusion, and the emergence of Brexit Party, Independent Party, the resurgence of the Liberal Democrats, and we've just come out of an era where politics was ridiculously polarised. We're now at a point where politics is ridiculously fragmented and all political parties are struggling with their own identity. So where does that leave us? Even more insignificant. There's all kinds of talk about black people are going to suddenly become emigrated and moved away. We're going to have less of a voice, and but I think there's an opportunity here for black people to start educating themselves on a political level and working out, what they can do to improve their circumstances and the circumstances of their community, what we can do collectively to improve our voice, and what value I can add on a personal level.
So you mentioned what you could add on a personal level, and the great thing about the room that I've just walked into, there's a great deal of people, and many of them I know, and they've got really great expertise in a lot of the things that they do. What do you think you could bring to the table? And in regards to the room there, what do you think of the expertise in the room? And do you think there's definitely the potential to get this off the ground and make it happen?
Well, what I can add on a personal level is my background is project management. Worked on economic development and regeneration for quite a number of years now. I've worked in a number of London boroughs at various different levels where I've had to engage with community in all kinds of different capacities. So I really understand the details and the mechanisms and the systems in which the politics works on a local borough level. In addition to that, what I've seen here this evening is lots of people with some fine art expertise, which you would see walking down the street, you wouldn't think anyone, you wouldn't be able to pigeonhole them in the generic ways the media likes to. Engineers, accountants, lawyers, solicitors, high-level professionals which you'll never ever identify at a glance or see it represented in the mainstream media in any context. And what I find exciting about this is that from my experience and what I've seen in other organisations and other departments and other institutes that I've been party to work in and amongst, is that all the skill sets, all the expertise, and the varying degrees of understanding on a political level are all here to really bring something together if we can galvanise a robust mandate and a very clear, time-bound risk management strategy going forward.
Cool. And finally, I've asked many people the other question. I think at this particular time we have the opportunity to do things different. I think as African peoples we've got a different ethics, we've got a different degree of spirituality, which when we're in our right mind, that kind of informs much of how we do, how we conduct ourselves and how we are. And I think that could definitely translate into our politics to create a really fair, different system of politics. I don't think that we have to necessarily... It has to be something which people are familiar with, but I don't think it has to necessarily be exactly the same as how Western politics is, behind closed doors, how we bring our stuff together, how we're able to work, the male and female dynamic in various forms. What do you think about that?
I think there's a lot of truth to what you say. I think that, conventional politics and economic systems are flawed, both socialism, both capitalism. I think in an ideal world, they could possibly work and marry together if one regulates the other, but that's an ideal world and we don't live in an ideal world. I think their politics historically, throughout the years, has been horrifically unethical and unprincipled, and I think that we have an opportunity to embed, a level of morality and a level of ethics in that, and identify with traditional cultural values to underpin that, not only to reinforce our own identity, but to add a level of value that is absent in politics throughout, in my opinion. I think that, we speak of things about justice and fairness and equality, so flippantly now, and we've kind of lost sight about how that can be delivered. Equality, in many respects, is quite subjective. Fairness, rights is subject to political climates and economic conditions. Fairness is ultimately a matter of opinion. Justice is, a series of laws that are ultimately designed by lawmakers to protect lawmakers. So, we have to adopt a slightly different way of thinking. We have to adopt a slightly different code of conduct, and I think there is scope to embed some fundamental principles which can galvanise us as people and create a much more constructive and sustainable way of doing things, not only just economically, but socially and morally.
Richard, that was absolutely great. Definitely fielding a lot of questions. It's very important, but the individuals that we bring forward really educate the viewer and empower the viewer. So you've heard a good range of individuals, and I hope that you've taken down notes, and I hope you're looking forward. And as you said, if you keep following us on this platform, we'll be working very, very closely with the Initiative Party, both as a critique and supporter. I think the media should do that, should be able to critique fairly. And to make sure that people who are elected, our representatives, are on their toes. So we always say to people, as black, we want a black political party, you also want a black media, but you're going to have to get what comes with it, the good and the bad. But our objective is to serve and to empower and better our communities, and most of all, to create a better future for the children that we've got coming up in generations behind us. So with that, Richard, thank you very much for your time. Thank you. This is Rob Wilson of HMP TV, Helping My People Television. I am here at the launch of the Initiative Party. It's kind of winding down, coming to an order end now. We've had several interviews with various different people to kind of inform you about, one, the Initiative Party, but most importantly, in regards to the importance of engaging in the political process, getting to understand politics, from low level community politics to, levels of cabinet and beyond. So you're here today. You said you represent Nichette. Tell me a little bit about Nichette and why you're here today.
Well, Nichette is a business partnership, and it's all around the ethos of mind, body and soul, and to an African business and enterprise. Everything that we have is about the betterment of self. We provide you with health and care products, skincare products, African clothing, accessories, Black history books, and health and well-being products.
So sorry, are you in Croydon? Yeah. Okay, yeah. I saw the advertisement, a very good advertisement.
So we're in Croydon, that's 101 Church Street, CR01RN. And downstairs on our second floor, we actually have a workspace facility. So we are encouraging professionals to come with their their professions in regards to health and well-being, mental health, anything that helps better our community, because we're all about community engagement. We want to encourage the young people to come on board so we can guide and mentor them and signpost them into the direction where they want to create, whether it's their starting their own business, or what work that they want to engage in, or what path they want to take. So we're all about empowering the community, and that's through a number of things, whether that be knowing about self and kind, and knowing about how they can bring their sort of energy to the forefront, and that's for the better.
Okay, well that leads on to our next question. It's a question that I've asked other people towards the end, but I'm going to start with this question with you first. And based in the day and time that we're in, I feel that there is a consciousness moving amongst black people, and we're really becoming woke, for want of a better term, en masse. In many different ways, for different people, and especially with the environment now, it's affecting us, and Brexit and all these different issues here in the UK, Trump in the US, the rise of the far right in Europe, and so on and so forth. But I feel at this point in time, being that we are a very spiritual people, sometimes it's been our Achilles heel, but I think we've got a chance to bring something different to a form of politics in regards to how we move forward politically, and that's a new degree of a new way of ethically looking at things, and the way that we conduct ourselves, a degree of fairness, justice, the things that we've always wanted for ourselves and would be able to mete out to others. So what do you think about marrying spirituality with politics, or that knowledge of self? Because spirituality manifests to different people in different ways, but that core, knowledge of self, knowing self, culturally aware, and then having that manifest through your politics.
Okay, so my feeling is that you can't have one without the other. To be honest, and I'll be brutally honest, I was a bit skeptic on coming here, because I thought, how do you set up a system in another person's system? It's like, are they really going to allow us to build a system in their home, or in their house, so to speak? Is that really going to work? And so as much as I question that, I also see the initiative of setting up this party, because we have to be amongst those. We have to, you got to be in it to win it. You have to sit up, you have to have someone representing you at that table, and we don't have that yet. So this is a really good platform to start those processes. So yeah, that's why I'm here, and I really do look forward to some of the outcomes, and them formulating this and putting it together and seeing it out there, because I'm a bit, the talk, we have so many so-called conscious leaders that have their masses, but yet we can't unify. And it's like, how do we galvanize everybody? Because there is a sense of urgency. We can't continue to go around in that cycle. That cycle has to be broken, and that cycle has to be broken now, So, whatever we need to do, we need to do it. But we also need to really reach out to those leaders that have a responsibility of guiding us to come together, because time and time again it's been said that the power is in our unity.
Most definitely. And the great thing about walking in that room is seeing a lot of professionals. And the thing is, they don't claim to be leaders of any kind. They're just professional individuals who understand. I was just speaking to one of them. They understand the importance of politics, but two, they're not trying to do everybody else's job. They, if someone's a professional in finance, then they stick in finance and they bring that part. And the great thing is about the facilitators are not ego-driven, so they want the best of individuals to come forward. And unfortunately, most black organisations haven't really run, underneath that model, and therefore led to where they are. But I think those organisations who have influence over numbers of people should also engage in this political process. So, in regard to the calibre of people in the room, what was your initial thoughts when you went in the room? I knew quite a few of those individuals, and I know the great thing is they're about what they do. They're not talkers. They'll talk but do the job as well. So what was it the same for you?
Yeah, I was happily surprised, because I've seen and heard a number of seen faces, and was able to put the name to the faces today, which is good. And the level of professionalism that is in the room is ideal for what they need to do. So you can really see that thought has been put into, the setting up of the initiative party. So I look forward to seeing those professionals, those ones that are highly trained in their field of work, come on board and take leadership and take the role and move things forward.
Okay, Amanda, I really, really do appreciate your answers there. And it's very important for us also to have female representation. I'd interviewed about 5 or 6 men, so it's very important that, our future is male and female, and not one way or the other. And even though the room at the particular moment is 80% males, males have got this ego, like, I'm going to save the world. Same time, as I said, the great thing about it is the calibre of people in the room. They're all doers, and we definitely want more women. And if you're very sceptical of politics, especially, and I would say more conscious-minded or Pan-African-minded, have always been a bit more, I think, sceptical of the political process. Though I do know that, and I've mentioned this before, I know there's been attempts to create parties in the past, but I think this one is a lot more open to a wider range of the community based on the individuals who are involved. I think definitely if you have a party, it has to represent the community, and so you can't put your prejudice up front. They all have to be put aside, because you have to represent everybody. And I think the conversation we had with Dean in the initial, he said, if there were Europeans who really liked what we represented and spoke for them, then get on board. It's about, there's good people and bad people. We just want good people. Yeah. Basically, and good people come in all sorts.
Yeah, in all walks of life.
Exactly.
So yeah, I agree.
Exactly. Thank you, Amanda, for taking the time and representing. And we want to see this happen. And as I said, we'll be monitoring at HMB TV, and media is here to monitor and critique and support initiatives, and we will be doing that fairly and impartially, as we should do as a platform representing our black community. With that, we're out of here. Peace. Okay, we've wrapped up now. We've been at the initiative, the launch, the workshops of the initiative party, the coming together the first time round, and we've spoken to various different individuals. I'll put various different questions to them based on their expertise. But most of all, we're just trying to get people to understand the importance of getting involved in a political discourse and understanding the political process in order to get things done, which definitely needs to happen within our own black community. If you look at the Asians, they're very involved in politics. If you look at the Jewish community, very involved in political issues in the places where they live. And it allows them to have an element of control, firstly in their communities, and then in the wider communities out into the country, nationally, and so on and so forth. So we have Mr. Pello here. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
And why the interest in this political event?
In all honesty, I've never really been too interested or too connected to politics before, because it's never really resonated with me. No one in politics has ever felt like they come from where I come from. So to be at the early stages of something where I'm being asked a question, what are the issues that you face, or what are the issues that you see in the community, and be able to be an active part of that conversation. You can't complain about the state of your situation or the state of society if you're not willing to do something about it. So this was me being a part of that conversation and contributing to it, basically.
And when walking into that room, I saw some great individuals in there, from different fields, different expertise and stuff. In regards to the room and the individuals who was there, what was your first impressions?
It was nice to go into a space, we're talking politics, and everyone around me looked like me. And there are some really inspirational people in that room as well. And to hear them speak, it was uplifting. And we very often go to a lot of events and we discuss issues and what have you. But to come to an event and that the primary focus of that event is to actually create solutions and then objectives and act on that, it brings it to another level.
And the great thing about that room, all the individuals in there are people who actually get on with doing what they say they do. And that's why I was very impressed when I walked into the room and saw the capacity and levels of people in there. Again,
I was invited, my wife and I, we run Black British Parent, and we were invited by Dina Kai to attend the event. And from our experience, Dean has a history of delivering what he says he's going to do, and that's the whole reason why we're here, to kind of help in that delivery as best as we possibly can.
Cool. Well, you've heard it, people. The Initiative Party is something which is being worked on slowly in the background. I look forward to seeing what their first things they'll be putting forward. I think they have mentioned 3 core things which are the basis of their politics. So it'd be really great to see how this moves forward. But the main thing is that the success of this party is based on you. You are the people who are going to be able to see and be able to have your voice heard through this party. You've got options. When the ballot box comes around, you've got options. Hopefully, there'll be something new on that ballot box paper for you to get involved with. Remember, it may not be general elections first. It may start off very, very just local elections. But if they're able to put forward a candidate, and we would encourage you to get involved, find out who that candidate is, question that candidate. How are they going to represent you? How are they going to represent the community? And hold them to task. We, as the media, we will definitely be doing that. Myself, MediaNet, the various different platforms are out there, will be definitely following very closely what's happening, and just making sure that we deliver on what we say we're going to deliver for. Just like you have a party, we say a media is there to assist assist in the regulation of its community, and make sure and ask those critical questions when things are not being answered. But I've got 100% faith in this moving forward, insofar as the individuals what make it up. The party itself is a non-entity. It's made up of the individuals what make it. So hopefully we'll be able to see this forward. It was great to see you here today. It's always a pleasure. Until the next event. Until then, take care and keep politicking.